PLO, was that a creation of the Muslim Brotherhood?
The PLO, well, originally there was communication between the founders of the PLO. The PLO was founded by Ahmed Shouqairi. But of course, the Palestinian Revolution prior to that involved the Husseini family, the Husseini clan. Abd al-Qadir al-Husseini and also Hajj Amin al-Husseini, the notorious friend of Adolf Hitler. He was a guest in my grandfather's house, and he wanted to destroy the Jews all over the Middle East. He was also the founder of the two divisions of the Nazi war machine. Most Americans are not aware that the Nazi war machine composed 8 divisions, 2 of which were Islamic. The Khanzar division and the Albanian division wreaked havoc, burned thousands of churches, killed hundreds of thousands, and they began to spread Islamic fundamentalism to revive Islam. This is really one of the beginning births of the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslims were very upset because the West basically clobbered the Ottoman Empire, and so many were disenfranchised with the loss of the Caliphate. The Caliphate is the papacy of Islam. Without the papacy of Islam, there's no Caliphate, there's no Ummah, there's no nation for Islam to unite them. The only way to unite them is to establish this Caliphate.
Is that the prime goal of the Muslim Brotherhood, to establish the Caliphate?
Absolutely. It was bruised by, when the Ottoman Empire fell in Turkey. And in fact, many Muslims view that it will be a non-Arab entity, Islamic entity, that will revive it. So many in the Muslim Brotherhood look at Turkey. Turkey is generating a lot of prominence in the Middle East to lead this axis in the future. Of course, the AK party won the election in Turkey, led by Recep Tayyip Erdogan, which is an Islamist sleeper cell, if you will. So it's not only the Muslim Brotherhood that's the problem, it's also Turkey, which leads 80 million people, the second largest army in NATO, of course.
Well, now, one of the intelligence analysts of the United States government said that the Muslim Brotherhood is essentially a secular organization. True or false?
False, because that's what they say in English. The Muslim Brotherhood says that. You have to look at what they say in the Arabic. I don't read the English. As far as I'm concerned, anything that's said about the Muslim Brotherhood in the major media is just a bunch of hogwash. I looked at the Al-Quds newspaper the other day, and the supreme leader of the Muslim Brotherhood, he says that pretty soon America will pull out of Iraq, America will pull out of Afghanistan, they will take their military, and the West will not be able to face the rise of Islamic nations. Of course, the Muslim Brotherhood's logo is wa'iddu, prepare. Prepare for what? It comes from the Quran. وَأَعِدُّ لَهُمْ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّنْ عِدَّةٍ وَمِنْ رِبَاطِ الْخَيْلِ تُرْهِبُونَ أَعْدَاءَ اللَّهِ وَأَعْدَاءَكُمْ. Prepare for them of force to fight against Allah's enemy and your enemy, to terrorize them.
To terrorize them?
Absolutely. Preparing to terrorize. It's about terrorizing. It's about terrorism.
What about Osama bin Laden? Is he in any way connected to the Brotherhood?
Well, he was born from the Muslim Brotherhood. Let's face it, Zawahiri was in the Muslim Brotherhood. Islamic Jihad was born from the Muslim Brotherhood. Hamas was born from the Muslim Brotherhood. All the Sunni Islamic terrorist organizations were born from the Muslim Brotherhood. Council of American Islamic Relations was born from the Muslim Brotherhood. It was born from the IAP, Islamic Association of Palestine.
There's a smokescreen that's been put over the American people. We're not told any of these things.
All the Islamic major organization in America, all of them, no exception, are born from the Muslim Brotherhood. There is a litany of statements made by the leadership with their allegiance to the Muslim Brotherhood. They all pledge allegiance to the Muslim Brotherhood. And
in turn pledge allegiance to establish the Caliphate.
Yes, even if you look at Faisal Abdul Rauf, the guy who wanted to build the Ground Zero Mosque. In the English, he says, well, we want dialogue, we want peace, interfaith dialogue. Yet you go to the regular newspaper in the Middle East, you look at Al-Ghad newspaper in Jordan. What does he say? He says that Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood, these are terror organizations, are basically the beacon of the sprouting of freedom and liberty. This is justice. So he really praises terrorism on the open in the Arabic. You can find a litany of statements. You can fill libraries on the Arabic information of what these people say in the Arabic language. But when they interview with Der Spiegel, like the deputy of the Muslim Brotherhood, he says, we want peace. You go to Sharqiyya, an Arab news agency, and he says, Section 2 of the Egyptian constitution that calls for equality between Muslim and Christian. Who is Section 2? When 95% of the population of Egypt is Muslim. In other words, they're going to change the constitution. And if you look at the statistics, whether you look at the Pew statistics, whether you look at the Gallup poll, whether you look at Zugby, the majority of the Egyptians want Sharia law. 84% of Egyptians want the killing of anyone who changes their faith from Islam. That's me. Take 10% of Egyptians are Christian. That's 94%. So you could say the majority of Egyptians want the institution of Sharia law.
Do you think that this, I mean, they've abolished the Constitution, the military is in charge. Do you think they're going to go for that now? I mean, the Egyptian people?
Well, we have to look at the model in Turkey. Many people are talking about the Turkish model.
Okay.
It used to be that the generals in Turkey, the military apparatus, would suppress the Islamist party. They had the right to basically terminate the Islamist party. Well, through changing the policies and changing the constitution, they can't do it anymore. So once this happens, then they can control the military. So you're going to see an era of, still the same thing, a facade of peace, because the Muslim Brotherhood learned from the Khomeinists, it was bad news for them. From Al-Qaeda and 9/11, they said, well, we have to basically cover and cocoon ourselves until we gain power. So you're going to continue to hear that the Muslim Brotherhood is peaceful. So by peace, they will deceive many.
Until they're, well, now, what has this got to do with the Bible? Do you see anything biblical about what's happening in Egypt now?
Let's not forget, the Lord comes riding on a swift cloud and is coming into Egypt. That's Isaiah chapter 19, verse 1. So when was the last time in the West? Well, today we'll be studying about how the Lord Jesus Christ is going to come fight the Muslims in Egypt. It doesn't happen, but it's in the Bible. And then you look at verse 2, Egyptian will go against Egyptian, neighborhood against neighborhood. You're going to have a civil war in Egypt. But Christ is coming to Egypt as well. Let's not forget in Daniel, even the Antichrist, it says Egypt and Libya and Kush, which is Sudan, will follow him in submission. So they will be following the Antichrist in submission. Egypt is all over the Bible. It is a huge issue. It is a cornerstone because it is the crystal ball in the Middle East. Whoever takes over Egypt controls the Middle East, controls the Suez Canal, controls the choking points for all the oil flow. America cannot have any more, supremacy in the oceans and all these things. So it's a major issue.
What do you think is going to happen? What is your forecast for the next 4 or 5 years?
Here's what's going to happen.
All right.
What's going to happen is a domino effect. You're going to see rebellions in Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco, Mauritania. Of course, we've seen Tunisia fall. And of course, Rashad al-Ghanouchi, Al-Nahda, Islamic Brotherhood, has gone back from London after being in exile. They're going to start all this Islamic revival there. We've seen the rise of a horn coming from Iran. The Shia horn. Of course, they're waiting for the U.S. to pull out. They will control Iraq. They control already Syria through proxy because Syria is ruled by Alawite Shia government, the Assads. And then they have Lebanon, Hezbollah in Lebanon, and you have the horn stemming from Iran. Tip point of this horn is going to be at the head of Israel. What we see now is a domino effect in the Sunni sector. If you think the Shia was a problem, which constitutes 15% of the Muslim world, wait till you see 85% of the Muslim world. It would be led by Turkey. And this Sunni horn is going to rise, and it's going to be much bigger because Pakistan has 100 nukes already. Turkey is building its power. There's a contract even of F-35s by signed President Obama of 100 F-35s, the supreme jet fighter of the U.S. We will no longer have air supremacy in the region if this happens. And we're seeing a rise of the Sunni horn. And that's going to basically erupt in the future in a war on Israel. And it's all about Jerusalem.
Do you think the Sunnis and the Shias are going to get together for that? I mean, they will make peace?
Absolutely. Because currently you look at Turkey making deals with Iran, gas pipelines, with the CIS nations as well, which is the southern parts of Russia. Of course, you have in the Palestinian areas, if you recall, when they were lobbing missiles at Israel, there was Qassams coming from Hamas, there was Katyusha rockets coming from Hezbollah, and both were carrying each other's flag. And of course, Iran supports both Hezbollah and Hamas. So you will see a temporary kind of get-together, against Israel when it comes against Israel. Israel unites them. But what's going to be at stake also is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is going to be hit by Iran with a nuclear weapon. Let's not forget, Isaiah 21 talks about, arise, O Elam. Elam is Iran. The burden against Arabia. Continue in the context. The burden against the desert of the sea, a desert surrounded by oceanic water. And we have Elam arising and destroying Arabia. So yes, Iran will have to have a nuke.
Well, if the Saudi production goes down, the world oil will be in a total chaos. I mean, that'll set in motion a domino in terms of economics.
Absolutely. But biblically, we know that the oil will burn. Isaiah 34. The burning of the pitch. It's absolutely in Isaiah 34 as Edom. And Ezekiel 25 tells us that God will stretch out his arm against Edom, make it desolate. From Teman to Dedan shall fall by the sword, and it will go up in smokes. Dedan is in Arabia, not just in Jordan. So it's the entire Jordan down to the Saudi peninsula by the Red Sea. And this is why in Jeremiah 49, 50, and 51, it says, I heard the noise of her destruction at the Red Sea.
Dear me. How soon do you see this taking place?
It's going to be a few years. The first era is going to be an era of false peace because it's going to masticize itself as a peaceful element in the promotion of peaceful Islam. Most Americans think it's the violent version of Islam. No, the peaceful version of Islam is what's dangerous because it's violent.
Yes.
It just covers itself with the facade of peace. And that's going to be more dangerous because that says that they can enter into the Trojan horse, and they already entered, into the government, into the system, into the school system. In 150 universities in this country, you have Muslim student associations, all apparatuses of the Muslim Brotherhood, and professors, everything.
And funded by the Saudis, from what I understand.
The Wahhabists, yes, absolutely. Yes. The Wahhabists and the Muslim Brotherhood work hand in hand. It was the Saudis that helped the Muslim Brotherhood when Nasser persecuted them. They grew in Saudi Arabia. And of course, the despots now are being exiled to Saudi Arabia. Mubarak's in Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia is the second most hated nation in the Islamic world.
Dear Lord. This book, God's War on Terror, Islam, Prophecy, and the Bible, is this available now? This is
Absolutely.
All right. Get them where books are sold, Amazon, etc. God's War on Terror. Our guest, fascinating stuff. You want to read it, you want to pray about it, and thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
God bless you.
God bless you.